Today I am going to discuss about 9-panel plot of cardiopulmonary exercise test. In 1977, Dr. Kuhlmann Wassermann was appointed to check 400 of people following exposure into asbestos. Government asked Dr. Wassermann, can you check whether these people are fit enough to do work again? Then Dr. Kuhlmann did the cardiopulmonary exercise test on them. Then separately calculate the heart rate increment, carbon dioxide production, volume of oxygen utilization, respiratory exchange ratio, partial pressure of oxygen, carbon dioxide, saturation, those are separately checked. What he found is, rather than we taking those values separately, when combined together it will give much more information. Then he introduced a concept called 9-panel plot of cardiopulmonary exercise test. He introduced 9 graphs to interpret the cardiopulmonary exercise test. Graph number 1 says minute ventilation or ventilation. There is a thing called BTPS, body temperature, ambient pressure and saturated vapor pressure. Volume which we are going to measure should be the body temperature and should be saturated with water vapor as well. So before exercise, from here to here before exercise, here we are going to start unloaded exercise. Here we are going to start loaded exercise. Here we are going to finish the exercise. If you go through my previous lecture, you can easily understand this graph. Minute ventilation somewhere around, if I perfectly normal like previously told, I am going to take roughly about 500 ml of gas into my lung. I am going to take at a rate of 12 per minute. So my minute ventilation right now roughly about 6 liter. So minute ventilation should be somewhere here. When I started unloaded exercise, minute ventilation little bit increase. But when I started loading exercise, minute ventilation drastically increase. So minute ventilation somewhere here. Now when I started loaded exercise, minute ventilation gradually goes up. It should be somewhere which machine calculated normal value. If that people which exposed into asbestos have normal lung, their minute ventilation should be which was the calculated by machine. Their minute ventilation, also called ventilation, body temperature, ambient pressure and saturated water vapor. So it should come into this value. At least it should come into 80% of machine calculated normal value. At least it should come to 80% of machine calculated normal value. This is 100% machine calculated value. This is 80% machine calculated value. Here 100, here 80. So your patient values during the exercise process at least should come into these two lines. At least should come into these two lines in order to say your patient having normal minute ventilation or near normal minute ventilation. This is called graph number 1. When coming to graph number 2, he combined heart rate and oxygen pulse together. Heart rate and oxygen pulse together. If you remember the previous example, it was me, 20-year-old. Heart rate 220 minus 20. My normal heart rate is 200. During exercise, I should achieve 200 beat per minute heart rate if I perfectly normal. At least 80% of them, that means 160 to 200 range I should achieve during the exercise. Before unloading exercise, heart rate is somewhere around 72. When I started loading exercise, it is increased little bit. When I started unloading exercise, it is increased little bit. When I start loaded exercise, it increased rapidly. If I perfectly normal, it should come into 100% level, at least it should come into 80 to 100% of normal value. Here 80%, here 100%. That means during the exercise my heart rate should come into at least this area. If you are perfectly normal, healthy, athletic, sometimes vagal tone is very high, your heart rate may not come into this value. Your heart rate is not come into this value 80%. Instead of that, during exercise heart rate going to be like this. Heart rate going to be like this. Not only that, if you are on beta blockers, if you are patient on beta blockers, heart rate increment will not be marked as normal. In that case also heart rate should be somewhere here. If you found a patient with cardiac failure, heart failure, again the heart rate increment is not there as normal. You should not be able to achieve normal heart rate which was calculated by software system of the exercise or cyclic ergometric machine. So if you are perfectly normal, you should achieve at least 80 to 100% of normal heart rate. Then the oxygen pulse, VO2 divided by heart rate. Previously I told that is oxygen pulse. Again oxygen pulse also you should achieve 80 to 100% of oxygen pulse. Oxygen pulse should be somewhere here initially. During the unloaded exercise, it is goes little bit up. Then this goes. This is 100% value, this is 80% value. Your O2 pulse, oxygen pulse, should be machinery calculated 80 to 100% value. In between the 80 to 100% value, if you are going to say your patient is normal. Your heart rate increment and oxygen pulse increment should be parallel. That means your heart rate increment and oxygen pulse increment should be parallel to each other if you are perfectly normal. If you found out totally unrelated curve like here and here, your patient having some problem with either heart or either lung, oxygen pulse is not good. So then come into third curve. The third curve of 9-panel plot of cardiopulmonary exercise test. It containing VO2 here, VCO2 here and work here, workload here. First of all I am going to draw work with the time. What happened? Sorry, VO2 with the time, VO2 with the time, volume of oxygen utilization with the time. Initially you utilize oxygen this much. During the during the unloaded exercise, it goes little bit up. During the loading exercise, volume of oxygen again goes up. Volume of oxygen goes up rapidly. If you are perfectly normal, you should achieve machine calculated, software calculated 80 to 100% value. 100% here, 80%. You should achieve those two values. Amount of oxygen utilization, you should achieve 80 to 100%. Then the amount of carbon dioxide production, VCO2, I am going to draw in the back line. Initially carbon dioxide production is low. Oxygen utilization roughly about 250 ml per minute. Carbon dioxide production roughly about 200 ml per minute. So because of that here a little bit low. During the unloaded exercise also same. But when coming to here, what happened is, when coming to this level, your anaerobic metabolism going to be start. Because of the exercise, your anaerobic metabolism going to be start. When the anaerobic metabolism start, you are going to produce more and more lactic acid. Those hydrogen ions go and combine with circulatory bicarbonate and going to produce more and more carbon dioxide. carbon dioxide. Because of that, carbon dioxide from here to here, now carbon dioxide come into upside rather than the oxygen. Oxygen is down, now carbon dioxide here. If you perfectly normal, you should achieve 80 to 100% of carbon dioxide production, which is calculated by software system according to your age, height, weight and gender. Age, height, weight and gender. Then the work, initial work, 0 here. I am not going to do any work. I am lazy like this. Then I am going to start unloaded exercise. Again I am not going to produce larger amount of work because unloaded exercise. Then I am going to start loaded exercise. It is very difficult to do. So initially 0 work I had done, then little bit of work with the unloaded exercise, then the loaded exercise. If I perfectly normal, very simple I think. If I perfectly normal, I should achieve 80 to 100% of workload, which was calculated by machine software system. Is 100% here, 80% I should achieve. Oxygen and the workload should be parallel. Oxygen curve and workload curve should be parallel to each other. Here and here. If you perfectly normal. If you have some problem with your body, sometime the work and oxygen utilization will be unrelated to each other. We are going to move into the curve number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, again, volume of gas we are going to take into lung, body temperature, ambient pressure and saturated water vapor. Like here. Here VCO2. All these axes, here time, here time, here time. When coming to fourth one, here VCO2. You should achieve at least 80 to 100% of near normal VCO2 value during the exercise. 80 to 100% of machine calculated VCO2 value during the exercise. That means your curve should come into this line at least. Then initial your tidal volume into respiratory rate, mean ventilation somewhere around 6 liter. Then during the resting it is 6 liter per minute. During the unloaded exercise it will be increased little bit. During the loaded exercise it is goes up. Somehow it should come into 80 to 100%, 80 to 100% range of normal, which was calculated by machine. Not only that, it should come into this line as well. This line should come into here and this line should cross these two lines. That means VCO2 line. VCO2 line and VE line should come into same position if you are perfectly normal. That means if you have 80 to 100% normal work according to machine calculation. Then we are coming to heart rate or curve number 5. Curve number 5 contains here heart rate, here VCO2, here VO2. Heart rate, we all know, heart rate started with 72 and going to 80 to 100% of normal value. It started with here 72. During the unloaded exercise, again little bit increase. Then during the loaded exercise, it goes up. It is going to 100 to 80% normal range. 80 to 100% normal range. VCO2, volume of carbon dioxide, started with here 200 ml. Volume of carbon dioxide started with 200 ml. It is gradually goes up. Volume of carbon dioxide gradually goes up. Volume of here line also, volume of oxygen line also, they should cross, because those volumes are very closer to each other, 250 and 200. So this is called graft 5 of 9 panel plot. Then we are going to move into the graft 6 of 9 panel plot. Graft 6 of 9 panel plot. Graph 6 says VE divided by VO2. VE divided by VO2 mean ventilator equivalent for oxygen. VE divided by carbon dioxide mean ventilator equivalent for carbon dioxide. Ventilator equivalent for oxygen, ventilator equivalent for carbon dioxide. If I draw ventilator equivalent for oxygen, it will be like this. Initially, during the resting, nothing will happen. During the unloaded exercise, because of oxygen produced more, it will be little bit, oxygen utilization more, it will little bit go up. Then it's gradually look like same, because carbon dioxide, because when your respiratory ventilation goes up, your carbon dioxide also going to be high. Because of that, this curve much or more in the horizontal when coming to graft. When coming to VE divided by VCO2, again ventilator equivalent for carbon dioxide. Ventilator equivalent for carbon dioxide. The graph will be like this. Initially, it have lesser amount of carbon dioxide when compared to here. Because of that, this value is little bit high. This value is little bit high. Start with here. Then it produces more and more carbon dioxide due to anaerobic metabolism, as I told previously. It produces more and more carbon dioxide due to anaerobic metabolism. Because of that, carbon dioxide, this VE divided by VCO2 value going to be low than oxygen one. So graph will be like this. Here the crossing point is the one which your anaerobic metabolism is going to start. Crossing point is the one which is anaerobic metabolism going to be started. So this is VCO2, VE divided by ventilator equivalent for oxygen curve and ventilator equivalent for carbon dioxide curve. Then we are going to move into tidal volume, body temperature, ambient pressure and saturated water vapor pressure curve. We are going to measure the tidal volume. Here we measure the total minute ventilation. Here tidal volume. Again the tidal volume also same. During the exercise your tidal volume goes up. Initially tidal volume somewhere around 500. Unloaded exercise it will be little bit more than 500. During the loaded exercise it is goes up rapidly. It should come into 80 to 100% normal machine calculated value. Your tidal volume increment during exercise should come into near normal machine calculated value. Here your maximum voluntary ventilation. Maximum voluntary ventilation. Your maximum voluntary ventilation also increases with the exercise. Again, maximum voluntary ventilation should come into near normal value. Again, the maximum voluntary ventilation should come into near normal value. Again, 80 to 100%. If you want to calculate maximum voluntary ventilation, the amount of you can, it is very much more or less equal to post expiratory volume in 1 second into 40. Post expiratory volume in 1 second into 40. If I take 500 gas into my lung now, when I exhale it, roughly about 80% I can remove during first second. That means 400 I can remove during my first second. 400 into 40 is the one my maximum voluntary ventilation in that case. If I take 5 liters into my lung and if I remove like this, I can remove approximately 4 liters within first second. 4 liters within first second. So in that case 4 liter into 40 is my maximum voluntary ventilation. So you should achieve your maximum voluntary ventilation during your exercise process. We are going to move into the respiratory exchange ratio or respiratory equivalent ratio, curve number 8. Curve number 8. As I told earlier, respiratory equivalent ratio means amount of carbon dioxide production per unit of oxygen utilization. That means VCO2 divided by VO2 is your respiratory equivalent ratio or respiratory exchange ratio. Here you are going to, under normal condition, you are going to produce 200 ml of carbon dioxide. You are going to utilize 250 ml of carbon oxygen. Your respiratory exchange ratio is roughly about this one divided by this one, 0.8. So your starting point should be somewhere here, 0.8. During the exercise, what happened? You are going to produce more and more carbon dioxide. Why? You are going to shift into anaerobic metabolism. You are going to shift into anaerobic metabolism. You are going to produce more and more carbon dioxide. Because of that, until from here to here, no exercise. From here to here, unloaded exercise. Then you are going to produce carbon dioxide. Your respiratory exchange ratio goes up. Under normal condition, you should achieve at least 1.15 respiratory exchange ratio. Initial 1.8, maximum at least 1.15 you should achieve. Then come into ninth curve or last curve of cardiopulmonary exercise test. It containing partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the expired gas. It is somewhere around 40. During the exercise, it is not going to change too much. Rapid exhalation going to produce volume going to be little bit more. Because of that, little bit of carbon dioxide increment can you see, but it is not clinically significant. It should be somewhere around 40. Carbon dioxide should be, blue one should be somewhere around 40. Saturation again not going to be changed. If you are perfectly normal, your saturation not going to change more than 5. That means less than 95 can't be happen during the exercise. So it should be somewhere around 100 saturation. It should be in the red line. SpO2 100. Then the partial pressure of oxygen again somewhere around 100 millimeter mercury. Partial pressure of oxygen again somewhere around PePO2 somewhere around 100. This is the thing about the 9-panel plot of cardiopulmonary exercise test. Now I am going to analyze this test according to 9-panel plot. These are the 9-panel draft. I am going to do that now. 9-panel plot analysis. Number 1, check whether you can achieve maximum work, whether you achieve maximum needed work. Machine calculated value. Check whether your patient can achieve 80% of workload. Here, work curve. At least 80% of 80 to 100% value here. Check whether your patient achieve 80%, at least 80%. Then check whether your patient achieve at least 80% of heart rate. Here heart rate. This one. Here heart rate. Check whether your patient achieve at least 80% of normal heart rate. Then check whether your patient achieve at least 1.5 respiratory exchange ratio. It is here. 1.5 respiratory exchange ratio. Number 2, check peak VO2, volume of oxygen consumption. Peak or maximum volume of oxygen consumption. It is in the graph 3. Now 1, 2, 3. Here, volume of oxygen, blue line from here to here. This is the peak. Here, blue line, maximum one. This is the peak VO2. Once you identify the peak VO2, volume of oxygen consumption, you have to divide it from the body weight and check whether your patient having more than 15 milliliter per kilogram per minute peak oxygen utilization. Whether your patient having more than 15 ml per kg per minute oxygen utilization. If your patient having more than 15, you can safely undergo general anesthesia and procedure. If your patient having lesser than that, it is dangerous to undergo general anesthesia. Sometimes you have to consider the minimally invasive procedure like endovascular procedure in case of aortic aneurysm repair. Number 3, check VO2 and work relationship. Oxygen utilization and work relationship. It should be parallel to each other. I already told you. This is work, red one. This is VO2. VO2 and work relationship you have to check. It should be parallel. If it is not parallel, there is some pathology. Then determine the anaerobic threshold. As I told earlier, anaerobic threshold means the time which we are going to shift into anaerobic metabolism. That means you do not have enough oxygen now. You are going to turn into anaerobic respiration. The hallmark of that point is you are going to produce more and more carbon dioxide. When you shift into anaerobic metabolism, you are going to produce more and more lactate. That hydrogen ion going to combine with bicarbonate, going to produce more and more carbon dioxide. So hallmark is rapidly increment of carbon dioxide. So we have to check anaerobic threshold here. For the anaerobic threshold checking, you have to utilize draft 5 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. If you carefully look at the VCO2 graph here, VCO2 graph, when graph comes into here, suddenly carbon dioxide increase little bit, like this. If you carefully analyze, more carefully analyze, you can see the V-shape arrangement from here to here. V-shape arrangement from here to here. This is the point which anaerobic metabolism going to start. This is the point where your anaerobic metabolism going to start. Carbon dioxide production much more. You have to determine the anaerobic threshold. Anaerobic threshold here in that case. Or you have to utilize this curve number 6. To determine the anaerobic threshold, you can use curve number 5 or curve number 6. If you utilize curve number 6 here, carbon dioxide is ventilatory equivalent for carbon dioxide now become lower here. Ventilatory equivalent for oxygen now become high here. That is the point where anaerobic threshold going to be start, or anaerobic metabolism going to be start, because here we are going to produce more and more carbon dioxide. Because of that, this value is going to be lower now when compared to this value. Did you understand, or am I teaching myself? Am I teaching myself? I will repeat it again. Here amount of gas expire, total amount divided by VCO2, VO2. We are going to call it as ventilatory equivalent for oxygen. Again, same one, ventilatory equivalent for carbon dioxide. Ventilatory equivalent for oxygen here. Ventilatory equivalent for carbon dioxide here. Initially, we utilize more oxygen, 250 oxygen and 200 carbon dioxide we are going to produce. Because of that, this value is much more less initially for the oxygen. This value is much more high for carbon dioxide. But when your anaerobic metabolism is started, carbon dioxide accumulate more and more. Because of that, this value is going to be high than this value. Then your graph, oxygen come into up and carbon dioxide graph go into down. The turning point of those two curves here is the one which anaerobic metabolism going to be started. At that time, we are going to measure here oxygen, volume of oxygen. Then you have number 4. You have to determine the anaerobic threshold. For that, you have to utilize graph 5 and 6. After that, you have to check what is anaerobic threshold. Here, volume of oxygen. Here volume of oxygen. Then you have to check whether that value is more than 10.2 ml per kilogram per minute. Whether that value is more than 10.2 ml per kilogram per minute. If it is less than that, you can't do major surgery. You are a patient having high risk of having post-operative complication. So if it is more than 10.2, you can happily do. If it is less than 10.2, you have to consider other option. Then number 6, whether your heart rate response is normal. Whether your patient heart rate response is normal. How are you going to check heart rate response is normal? Here, heart rate response is this blue line, started with 72, it gradually goes. It should be somewhere around 100 to 80 to 100% of normal range. In my case, 20-year-old, 220 minus 20, 200 I should achieve, at least 160 to 200. That means 80 to 100% range of normal value. If I do not achieve this much of heart rate, it may be due to, I already told, sometime in athletic they are not achieving. Sometime in patient with beta blockers, not achieving. Sometime patient with heart failure, not achieving. Sometime patient with sick sinus syndrome, not achieving. So you have to check whether the heart rate response normal. Then you have to check O2 pulse, whether your O2 pulse increase with exercise. Here your O2 pulse gradually should increase from here to here during the exercise. O2 pulse means amount of volume of oxygen per stroke volume. Whether your O2 pulse gradually increase with exercise, you should have like that. Otherwise, you are having some kind of pathology. Your O2 pulse should be increased with exercise. Number 8, are there any ventilatory limitations? You have to check this curve. Number 7 curve, maximum voluntary ventilation. Maximum voluntary ventilation. Whether you able to achieve maximum voluntary ventilation. That is must be equal to post expiratory volume in 1 second into 40. Not 40%, it must be 40. Or whether your patient able to achieve adequate minute ventilation. If your patient not achieve those value, your patient having some kind of respiratory pathology. Under normal condition, your exercise is not limited by your respiratory system. Your respiratory system has unlimited capacity. But if you are having chronic respiratory disease, either obstructive or restrictive disease, your respiratory system can compromise your exercise capacity before your heart and peripheral system fatigue. Before your peripheral and heart fatigue. So, check whether you have any ventilatory limitations. Number 9, last one. Check whether are there any ECG changes. ST depression about 1 millimeter in 2 adjacent lead of 2 millimeter ST depression, single lead considered to be significant. Any T inversion, any arrhythmia considered to be significant. So this is the 9 panel flock top cardiopulmonary exercise test. I think dangerously easy. I will repeat it rapidly. Check whether you achieve maximum value 80% and respiratory exchange ratio 1.12. Check whether your patient having peak volume of oxygen consumption more than 15 ml per kg per minute. Check volume of oxygen utilization and work relationship is parallel to each other or not. Try to determine anaerobic threshold, which is one of the very difficult thing when you are analyzing the 9 panel plot. But carefully try. Then check what is anaerobic threshold. It should be more than 10.2 ml per kg per minute in order to undergo a major surgery. And check whether heart rate response is normal. If you do not have normal heart rate response, your myocardium is diseased or either suppressed by some drugs. And check O2 pulse increased with exercise. O2 pulse should be increased with exercise. Then check are there any ventilatory limitation. Under normal condition you should not have any ventilatory limitations. Lastly, check whether you have any ECG changes. That is all regarding the 9th plot of cardiopulmonary exercise test. Thank you very much.